This Warmaster battle report features two 2,000 point armies per side. Each army calculates its breakpoint separately, but characters on the same side can order any units. The game will be played across an icy barren wasteland. There are a few broken rock formations which count as dense terrain and provide cover for infantry. There are no special victory conditions in this game, so the game will end when one side has lost both armies to withdraw. So let's look at the armies playing. The first of the two evil armies will be the Chaos Dwarfs, and they will be supported by the Dark Elves. The evil armies have strong brigades of artillery, heavy cavalry and infantry. The armies have a double line deployment strategy to defend against enemy flyers. They place a fearsome artillery brigade in the centre, featuring Earthshaker cannon and bolt throwers. On one flank there are Dark Elf Dark Rider light cavalry and Chaos Dwarf Bull Centaur heavy cavalry. In the centre there is Chaos Dwarf and Dark Elf infantry, with slave orcs in the front and a hydra. On the other flank are Harpies, Dark Elf Cold Ones, Hobgoblin Wolf Riders and Black Orcs. The Chaos Dwarf commander leads from the front. This dragon represents a Dark Elf commander on a manticore. The Keeper of Secrets is a Chaos Dwarf commander. Opposing the evil alliance shall be the Men of the Empire, supported by the forces of Araby. The human armies have also employed a double line formation. On one flank are Empire crossbowmen, Empire knights and a hero on a griffin. In the centre are more crossbowmen, infantry brigades of flagellants and halberdiers, and another hero on a griffin. At the rear are Arabian magic carpets, elephants and light infantry. On the other flank, Arabian cavalry surround Empire artillery, with characters interspersed in the formations. The Empire General shall lead the forces today, with the Arabian General second in command, and a genie for magical support. With both armies now deployed, the Generals roll for first turn. The Empire begin with a cautious advance on their left, sending crossbowmen into cover. In the centre, infantry and cavalry brigades advance slowly. Elephants are moved up in support, whilst the flyers hang at the rear. On the right flank, cavalry advances slowly, causing the infantry to bunch up behind. The evil alliance is unperturbed by this slow advance and ponders their reaction. The Dark Elves begin with a light cavalry advance on their right flank. The Hydra also lumbers forward, with the artillery brigade bringing up the rear. Slave orcs are sent forward under the whips of their masters. Wolf Riders and Black Orcs advance on the left. The Orc Brigade has been sent forward as bait to lure the human cavalry into a trap. How will the Empire respond? The human armies advance cautiously once more, straightening their battle line. However, two units of knights take the bait and thunder home a charge into the Orc slaves. Arab cavalry units are blocking the line of sight of the Empire cannon this turn. However, a couple of artillery pieces can draw a bead on some distant hobgoblin and orc units, driving them back in confusion. The human wizard's magic is ineffectual this turn, so they move straight to close combat. The knightly charge of the Empire Knights overruns one orc unit immediately. The orcs are forced to retreat with the knights in pursuit, and the combat splits into two separate engagements. The knights take some casualties in return. However, they destroy 1.5 units of orcs and damage a unit of Chaos Dwarfs. The Chaos Dwarfs respond with a suicidal charge of Hobgoblin light cavalry into the Empire cannon. Dark Elf light cavalry also engages the flank of the Empire Knights. The remaining Chaos Dwarf and Dark Elf forces fail to heed the orders of their commanders, so the Dark Riders will have to fight this engagement without support. The Chaos Dwarf Earthshaker cannon line up a shot, and 2 stands of Empire Flagellants are blown to pieces. Unengaged Dark Riders pour crossbow fire into the Empire lines, and a 3rd stand of Flagellants is shot down, whilst another unit of Empire Knights is pushed back and confused. In combat, the Empire Knights see off the Dark Riders. They continue their pursuit of the Orcs and Chaos Dwarfs, driving them further back. The single Goblin Wolf Rider that survived his charge into artillery fire is cut down in close combat. The initial engagements have gone the way of the humans, but can they capitalise on their gain? The Araby army advances on the right flank. However, elsewhere, the Empire units failed to engage their opponents across the field. As the Imperial assault begins to falter, Araby wizards summon a mirage in front of the Chaos Dwarf lines. In shooting, the Imperial artillery and Arab bowfire erases another unit of Wolf Riders, and in combat the remaining Orc slave units are destroyed by the Empire Knights. Dark Riders evade away from the Empire lines, contacting the Arabian Mirage and removing it. More Dark Riders then engage the surviving Empire Knights. The Chaos Dwarf Artillery Brigade look for new victims. 2 more stands of Flagellants are blown to smithereens. Dark Riders kill off 1 unit of Empire Knights. They then advance into a 2nd unit, and they are also destroyed. This turn the Dark Elves also use a Ring of Magic to remove an Empire artillery piece. With the Dark Elf cavalry causing problems, the humans need to make a decisive move to regain the initiative. 6 elephants charge into the Dark Riders, hoping to crush them before they can escape to safety. Empire halberdiers move up beside the elephants to support them in combat, and a unit of Empire Knights charge headlong into the Chaos Dwarf artillery, hoping to knock them out. Meanwhile, the Empire artillery takes aim at distant Black Orcs. 1 stand is destroyed and the unit pushed back in confusion. The Araby wizards manage to send a sunstrike through the Dark Elf cavalry, wounding a unit, whilst the Empire wizards throw a ball of flame at the Dark Elf artillery, hoping to weaken them as well. In combat, the knights are pushed away by the massed artillery fire, having failed to take out either of the dwarf cannon. The elephants have more success and destroy the Dark Riders on the charge. Vengeful Chaos Dwarf units now ambush the retreating knights. However, the Dark Elf line refuses to move at all this turn. Unable to engage their enemy in close combat, the evil allies resort to shooting, driving back Empire Knights with an artillery barrage. The Empire Knights are quickly cut down in front of the artillery, and the Chaos Dwarfs fall back in good order. The Empire now send in their cavalry reserve to attack the Dark Riders, whilst another unit of knights attack the Hobgoblin Bolt Throwers, this time supported by a Griffin Rider. On the right flank, the Arab Knights fail to charge the Black Orcs. However, magic carpets fly behind the Harpies and begin to shoot them. An Empire Wizard fires a ball of flame down the line of enemy artillery, causing damage and confusion. A Mirage unit is also summoned to confound enemy shooting. In combat, the Knights and Griffin Rider destroy 2 cannon and the Bolt Throwers, pushing the Chaos Dwarfs over their breakpoint. This forces the remaining Chaos Dwarf units to withdraw, leaving the Dark Elves to fight on alone. Another unit of Dark Riders are ridden down by the Empire Knights, who then realign position. Dark Elf infantry use initiative to charge the Mirage unit, removing it from play. The Hydra then has a clear path to initiative charge the remaining Knights and Griffin Rider. More Dark Elf infantry charges the Empire Halberdiers. Cold One Knights finally make a move and advance up the field. In combat, the Hydra easily crushes the remaining Empire Knight and Griffin Rider before falling back to protect the Cold Ones. Dark Elf infantry easily overwhelms the single unit of Empire Halberds. They then advance and inflict further damage on 2 more units of Halberdiers. Empire Knights use initiative to charge into the waiting Hydra. The monster breathes fire on the Knights as they charge home, but they thunder through unscathed. Arab cavalry units now wheel around to threaten the flank of the Cold Ones. A unit of elephants charge into the Cold One Knights, whilst artillery advance in support. More elephants charge the Dark Elf infantry fighting Halberdiers, and a Griffin Rider joins the fight with the Hydra. Arab wizards fire a Sunstrike down the line of Cold One Knights, inflicting some damage. Further shots from missile cavalry inflict more damage on the Cold Ones, confusing them. The Hydra is ridden down by the charge of the Empire Knights and Griffin Rider, who then advance into the flank of the Cold Ones. Although the Dark Elf cavalry bring down an elephant, they suffer severe casualties, preventing them from fighting on, as their general calls the retreat.